Good morning, students. My topic for today's session is large sample test. So in the previous session, we have seen testing of hypothesis. So this testing of hypothesis is done based on a sample, I told you. So for this, you have two types of test when the sample size is small and when the sample size is large. So when you have a sample size of more than 30, you have large sample test. So what is this large sample test? We'll see. So all the tests which have a sample size of more than 30 will be discussed in large sample test. So here we will discuss the test of significance when samples are large. That is, the number of trials n is very large. Then we'll use this large sample test. So whenever, as we know, as the number of trials n is large or tends to infinity, almost all the distributions tends to normal distribution. So here we apply the normal test, which is based on the area property of the normal probability curve. So since as n tends to infinity, most of the distributions tends to normal distribution. So in large sample test, we will be using normal test. And this normal test is based on the area property of the normal probability curve. So first, let me explain about this area property of the normal probability curve, which you have already done in first year. So as we know, this is the normal curve. And these are the areas I have shaded into different parts. Now what are these areas? What is this middle part? This middle part is z is equals to 0. This is mean, median, mode. Highest point is mean in normal curve. In normal distribution, mean, median, mode coincide. So since z is x bar minus mu by sigma, so here these are equal. So this one will become 0. Z is equals to 0. Now when z lies between -1 to 1, that is probability of z lying between -1 to 1 is 0.6827. When it lies between -2 to +2, it is 0.9545. When it lies between -3 to +3, then it is 0.9973. So this is the normal probability curve. So these probabilities will be writing here. See, if x follows normal with mean mu and variance sigma square, then z is equals to x minus mu by sigma follows normal with mean 0, variance 1. That is a standard normal variance. Z is a standard normal variance. Now from normal probability tables, we have probability of -3 less than or equal to z, z less than or equal to 3 is equals to 0.9973. See here. -3 less than or equal to z, z less than or equal to 3 is 99.73% means 0.9973. That is what I have given here. So this I can also write it as probability of mod z less than or equal to 3 is 0.9973. When I know mod z less than or equal to 3, I can find probability of mod z greater than 3, which is nothing but 1 minus probability of mod z less than or equal to 3. So 1 minus this probability, we know it is 0.9973. So when I subtract 1 and this, you will get 0.0027. So a standard normal variate lie between plus or minus 3. Any standard normal variable always lies between +3 and -3 and +3. So also from normal tables, your probability of -1.96 less than z, z less than 1.96 is 0.95, 95%. So probability of mod z less than 1.96, 0.95. Or probability of mod z greater than 1.96 means lying outside that region. So this will be 1 minus p of mod z less than or equal to 1.96, which is 1 minus 0.95 equal to 0.05. So 5% of the values lies outside 1.96. Similarly, you have from normal tables minus 2.58 less than z, z less than 2.58 is equal to 0.99. So this is probability of mod z less than or equal to 2.58 is equals to 0.99. I want probability of mod z greater than 2.58. So this is 1 minus probability of mod z less than or equal to 2.58. This is 1 minus this probability, we know it is 0.99. So this is equals to 0.01. So the significant values of z at 5% and 1%. This is 5%. and this is 1%. So at 5% it is, this is 5%, this is 1%. At 5% you have the value as 1.96 and at 1% you have 2.58. So for a two-tailed test, the table value of Z for 5% is 1.96 and for 1% is 2.58. You have to remember the table values. This is for two-tailed. That means whenever you have H1 as not equal to. And if in H1 you have greater than or less than symbol, then that is called as a one-tailed test. So also from normal probability tables, probability of mod Z greater than 1.645 is 0.5 minus probability of 0 less than Z, Z less than 1.645. So this is from the tables we have calculated. This comes out to be 0.05. Similarly, for probability of Z greater than 2.33, it will be 0.5 minus, because it is one-tailed, we are taking 0.5. There it was two-tailed, we have taken 1. Both the tails will be considering. Okay? And here, since it is one-tailed, we'll take only the one half, either left or right. So one half if you are taking, we'll have only one rejection region, so that I am taking it as 0.5. Now 0.5 minus probability of 0 less than or equal to Z, Z less than or equal to 2.33. So 0.5 minus 0.49, these are from the tables. So this is equal to 0.01. So at 5%, you have table value as 1.645 and at 1%, you have the table value as 2.33. So whenever you have one-tailed test, that is whenever H1 is either greater than or less than, then it is a one-tailed test, and the table values for such one-tailed test will be, for 5% it is 1.645 and for 1% it is 2.33. So now coming to this last, so that is the basis we'll be using for this large sample test. So those are called as the critical values or table values. Now we'll be going into the large sample test. So the large sample test, you have two types. One is sampling of variables and sampling of attributes. Because these types of samples will be, one is for variables, another one will be for attributes. For variables you have different tests, and for attributes also you have different tests. We'll see one by one. First we'll go to sampling of variables. In sampling of variables, you have test of significance for single mean and test of significance for difference of mean. These are the two important tests you have for sampling of variables in large sample test. So first we'll discuss test of significance for single mean. So let x1, x2 up to xn be a sample of IID random variables from a distribution having unknown mean and known standard deviation. So suppose you have a sample of size n with unknown mean and known standard deviation, and the sample observations are x1, x2 up to xn. And we assume that this sample is large, that is n is greater than 30. And suppose we want to test whether the population mean is mu naught or not, then the following hypothesis setup. Or suppose we want to test whether this sample is drawn from the population with mean mu naught, that can also be there. Okay? So here I have given, suppose we want to test whether the population mean is mu naught. Suppose we also want to test that whether this sample of size n is drawn from the population with mean mu naught, then the null hypothesis H naught is mu is equals to mu naught. That is, the sample is drawn from a population with mean mu naught. Alternative, the sample is not drawn from the population with mean mu naught, or mu is not equal to mu naught, mu greater than mu naught, mu less than mu naught. Next step will be test statistic. See, in the testing of significance, in hypothesis testing, I have given you procedure: testing of hypothesis, testing of significance. What are the steps we have to follow? 5 steps you will be having. So those 5 steps we are discussing here. One is whatever values are given to you. Then you have null hypothesis, then alternative hypothesis, then test statistics, then conclusion. So once we have defined null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, you have to write test statistics. Now, based on this given data, under H naught, the test statistic is given by, for single mean, Z is equals to x bar minus mu by sigma by root n. And this Z, we know it follows N01, standard normal distribution with mean 0 and variance. Every time whenever you write test statistic for any large sample test, you should mention this. It follows N01. And the critical value or the table value, from using this formula, you'll calculating one Z value. this Z value you should compare it with Z alpha. See, whatever we have found in area property, like for 5% for two-tailed test, it is 1.96, for 1% it is 2.58. Those are the table values. So here critical value Z alpha, we denote it as Z alpha, where alpha can be 5% or 1%. Next step is conclusion. Now once we calculate this Z value using the test statistic, we have to compare the Z value with this critical value Z alpha. If this calculated value Z is greater than this table value Z alpha, then H0 is rejected. And if calculated value is less than this table value Z alpha, we accept H0. So this is the procedure for test of significance for single mean. We'll see one example. See, a sample of 900 members has a mean 3.4 centimeters and standard deviation 2.61 centimeters. Is the sample is from a population with mean 3.25 centimeters and SD 2.61 centimeters? This you have to test it. You have to test whether, see here you have a sample with 900 members and the sample mean is 3.4 centimeters and its standard deviation is 2.61 centimeters. Now you have to test whether this sample is drawn from a population whose mean is 3.25 centimeters and standard deviation is 2.61 centimeters. So what are the values given to you? First write this. So n is given as 900 sample size, x bar, this should be x bar, sample mean is given as 3.4 and the standard deviation, population standard deviation is given as 2.61. Null hypothesis H0, what you have to test? Whether the sample has been drawn from a population with mean 3.25. So H0 will be the sample, we say that it is drawn from that population. That means that is what is H0. H0 is hypothesis of no difference. So the sample has been drawn from a population with mu equal to 3.25 centimeters. Alternative is the sample has not been drawn from a population with mean not equal to 3.25 centimeters. Has not been drawn from population with mean 3.25 centimeters. That is mu not equal to 3.25 centimeters. Now under H0, the test statistic is given by Z equal to x bar minus mu by sigma by root n. So x bar it is given as 3.40 in the problem, mu is 3.25, sigma is 2.61. This is square root of 900, which is n. So the difference of this numerator is 0.5, square root of 900 is 30. That I have taken it to the numerator. So into 30 divided by 2.61. So Z is equals to 1.73. So now the calculated value of Z you got is 1.73. Now we have to compare this with the table value. Now before finding the table, before writing the table value, first we should see whether this problem is a one-tailed problem or two-tailed problem. So here, how to check whether this problem is a one-tailed problem or a two-tailed problem? It depends on alternative hypothesis. Here H1 you have not equal to. Not equal to means it is a two-tailed problem. Suppose instead of not equal to, I have greater than symbol. It means it is a one-tailed problem. If you have less than symbol, even then it is a one-tailed problem. So only if you have not equal to in H1, then only it is a two-tailed problem. So here we have calculated the Z value 1.73. Now we should compare this with the table value, critical value. Now since it is a two-tailed problem, so Z alpha will be equal to 1.96. That is table value is 1.96. Why 1.96? Because alpha is 5%. It is mentioned in the problem, you have to test it 5%. If it is not mentioned also, generally we take alpha as 5%. It means what? 5%, there may be some error in our calculation, in our conclusion. It means that. So here I'm taking alpha as 5%, so Z alpha is 1.96. If it is one-tailed, it would be 1.68 for alpha equal to 5%. Because it is two-tailed, table value or critical value is 1.96. Now compare this with the calculated value. Calculated value is 1.73. Table value is 1.96. So which is less here? Calculated value is less. Now since calculated value is less than the table value, we accept H0. That means we conclude that the sample has been drawn from the population with mean 3.25 centimeters. That is what I have written here. Conclusion, since Z calculated equal to 1.73 is less than Z table value equal to 1.96, H0 is accepted at 5% level of significance, and we conclude that the sample has been drawn from a population with mean mu equal to 3.25 centimeters and sigma equal to 2.61 centimeters. So similarly, you have test of significance for a difference of means. So in single mean, you will have only one sample. In difference of means, you will have two samples. That is the only difference you have. So here I have taken two samples, x1, x2, xn1 and y1, y2 up to yn2 be two samples drawn from populations with means mu1 and mu2 respectively with known variances sigma square 1 and sigma square 2. Assume the sample size is large as usual, say greater than 30. Suppose we want to test whether the samples are drawn from the same population or not, then the following hypothesis is set up. So null hypothesis H0 will be the samples have been drawn from the same populations. That is, the population means will be equal, mu1 equal to mu2. Alternative, they are drawn from the different populations. That is, mu1 not equal to mu2, mu1 greater than mu2, mu1 less than mu2. It can be anything. Depending on the problem, we have to write the alternative hypothesis. H0 will be always equal to. Now test statistic under H0, the test statistic is given by Z equal to x bar minus y bar by root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2 follows n01. Then again you have to write the critical value Z alpha for alpha 5% or 1%. Then after that step, we have to write conclusion. So compare this test statistic value or calculated value of Z with this table value Z alpha. If the calculated value is less than Z alpha, that is table value, we accept H0. If calculated value is greater than Z alpha, then we reject H0. So you have certain remarks in this. If this sigma 1 square is equal to sigma 2 square is equals to sigma square, that means values of the population variance of first population and the variance of the second population are same, which is equal to sigma square, then test statistic will be x bar minus y bar by sigma into root of 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2. And suppose this sigma square, if sigma 1 square equal to sigma 2 square is equal to sigma square, that means the population variances are equal and it is unknown. We don't know that population variance value. It is not given in the problem. Then we can estimate this using the sample variance formula. That is sigma square cap equal to n1 s1 square plus n2 s2 square by n1 plus n2. Here we have taken equal to. Suppose sigma 1 square is not equal to sigma 2 square and they are not known, then they are estimated from the sample values s1 square and s2 square. Then the test statistic will be x bar minus y bar by root of s1 square by n1 plus s2 square by n2. So overall you have three formulas here. One is x bar minus y bar by root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. That means when both these population variances are given to you and it is known. Second one is when both the population variance are equal or they have the same value, then you have this formula x bar minus y bar by sigma into root of 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2. Third one is both the population variances are equal but it is unknown, are equal but unknown. Then we same formula, this formula only you will have, but sigma is estimated using this formula n1 s1 square plus n2 s2 square by n1 plus n2. Fourth condition is if both the population variances are not equal and they are not known, then z is equals to x bar minus y bar by root of s1 square by n1 plus s2 square by n2. So depending on the problem, you have to select the formula. We'll see one problem. Say within a school district, students were randomly assigned to one of the two maths teachers, Mr. A and Mr. B. After the assignment, Mr. A had 30 students and Mr. B had 25 students. At the end of the year, each class took the same standardized test. Mr. A's students had an average test score of 78 with a standard deviation of 10, and Mr. B's students had an average test score of 85 with a standard deviation of 15. Test the hypothesis that Mr. A and Mr. B are equally effective teachers. You have to use 5% level of significance. So first, what are all the values given to you? You have to write it. See, N1 is given 30, N2 is given 25, X bar is given as 78, S1 is given as 10, Y bar is 85, S2 is 15. So we'll be using the last formula. This formula we'll be using because all these values are given to you. So your solution N1 is 30, N2 is 25, X bar 78, Y bar 85, S1 10, S2 15. So null hypothesis H0 will be Mr. A and Mr. B are equally effective teachers. That is mu1 equal to mu2. Alternative hypothesis H1, Mr. A and Mr. B are not equally effective teachers. That is mu1 is not equal to mu2. In the problem, he is not mentioning whether Mr. A is more effective than Mr. B or not. He is asking to find whether they are equally effective or not. If he specifies the test whether Mr. A is more effective than Mr. B, then H1 would be mu1 greater than mu2. Or Mr. B is more effective than Mr. A, then it will be mu1 less than mu2. But he's not asking you to test that. He's just asking to test whether they are equally effective or not. So H1 will be not equal. Now test statistic, next step is to write the test statistic. Under H0, the test statistic is given by Z equal to X bar minus Y bar by root of S1 square by N1 plus S2 square by N2. So here we have calculated it. Z equal to X bar is 78, Y bar is 85. This is 10 square by 30 plus 15 square by 25. So you got minus 7 by 3.51. This is equal to minus 1.99. So because we got negative value, we'll take modulus. Because normal distribution is a symmetrical distribution. So mod Z is equals to 1.99. Now compare this with the table value. What is the table value? Table value will be, because it is a two-tailed test, it will be 1.96 because alpha is given as 5%. So at 5% level of significance, the critical or table value is 1.96. Now here we can see this 1.99 is greater than 1.96. That means calculated is more than table value. So we'll reject H0. So since Z calculated, which is equal to 1.99, is greater than Z table value, which is equal to 1.96, H0 is rejected at 5% level of significance. And we conclude that Mr. A and Mr. B are not equally effective teachers. Now, next type of large sample test is sampling of attributes. So here, as I explained to you in theory of attributes session, attributes are nothing but qualities which you cannot measure it, but we can only measure them with their presence or absence. So here also we'll consider a sample from a population which is divided into mutually exclusive and exhaustive classes. So population is divided into two parts. One class possessing a particular attribute, say A, and the other class is not possessing that attribute. So what we do, we note down the number of persons in the sample of size n possessing that attribute. See, from this population we select a sample. In that sample, we count the number of persons who are possessing that attribute. So let that be X. So the presence of the attribute in this sample is termed as success and its absence as failure. So the observed proportion of success in the sample is X by N, that is small p. So sample proportion, we denote it as small p, which is equal to X by N. That means number of persons possessing the attribute divided by total number of persons in the sample. Now if X is the number of successes in n independent trials with constant probability P of success for each trial, means it is a binomial, it follows a binomial distribution. X is number of successes in n independent trials. Okay? So it's a binomial distribution with probability of success as P. So we know in binomial distribution mean is NP and variance is NPQ. So here also expected of X will be NP and variance of X is NPQ because this X follows a binomial distribution here. So here Q is equals to 1 minus P, which is the probability of failure. Now we'll define the null hypothesis H naught. P is equals to P naught for some specific number P naught which lies between 0 and 1. This is the population proportion. We are testing for this population proportion. Alternative hypothesis H1 will be P less than P naught or P greater than P naught or P naught equal to P naught. So if you have inequalities, this is called one-tailed. If we have not equal to, then it is called as two-tailed. Now the test statistic. See, since x and x by n, and since x is normally distributed, consequently x by n is also asymptotically normal for large values of n. So the normal test for the proportion of success under H naught is given by z equal to x minus expected of x by root of variance of x. So this equal to x minus expected of x, we know it is np, and variance of x is npq. So x minus np by root of npq. This follows n01. Also, I have told you in this previous slide, x by n is equals to small p. So here expected of small p is nothing but expected of x by n. So 1 by n is a constant term, I am taking it out. So 1 by n into expected of x, 1 by n into expected of x, what you got? That is mean of a binomial distribution, that is np. Now this nn will get cancelled, you will get capital P. So expected of small p is equals to capital P. What does it mean? It means that small p is an unbiased estimate of population proportion P, capital P. Similarly, variance of P. This is equal to variance of capital X by n. So whenever this 1 by n is a constant, we know that whenever you are taking a constant outside the variance, it will become square. So this will be 1 by n square variance of x. So 1 by n square variance of x of binomial is npq. So this nn will get cancelled, you will get pq by n. So variance of p is equals to pq by n, or standard error of p is root of variance of p, that is root of pq by n. Now we can define test statistic because you know expected of p and standard error of p. So here z is equals to p minus expected of p by standard error of p. So this is equal to small p minus expected of p, you got capital P, by standard error of p, you got root of pq by n. This also follows standard normal distribution with mean 0 and variance 1. Then critical value will be z alpha, where alpha can be 5% or 1%. Conclusion, we compare this calculated value of z with the table value z alpha. If calculated value is greater than the table value, we reject H naught. And if calculated value is less than table value, we accept H naught. We'll see one. So you have remarks here. This is not single proportion, sorry. This is difference of proportion only. Sorry, single proportion. So you have some remarks here for single proportion also. Suppose we have sampling from a finite population of size n. That means if we know the population size capital N, then standard error of P is not only root PQ by N, we will have one more constant term, this one. See here, for a large population, you are taking standard error of P as root of PQ by N. Suppose you know the population size capital N, finite population, then standard error of P will be root of, you will have PQ by N into capital N minus small n by capital N minus 1. Then the limits for capital P, the limits for the population proportion is expected of small p plus or minus 3 times of standard error of P, small p. So expected of small p is capital P plus or minus 3 standard error of P is root of P into Q by N. If capital P is not known, see here you have capital P in these limits. If capital P is not known, then what we'll do, we estimate this capital P using small p because expected of small p is equals to capital P. Then the limits will be small p plus or minus 3 root of small pq by n. Now the limits for p, fourth remark is the limits for p at alpha level of significance are given by p plus or minus, that is only at 3. Here we have seen plus or minus 3. Suppose we have some value of z, that is z alpha, then the limits will be p plus or minus z alpha root of pq by n, where z alpha is the significant value of z or table value of z at alpha level of significance. So in particular, suppose if I want to find 95% confidence limits for P, then this for 95% Z alpha is 1.96. 95% means alpha is 5%. So at 5% Z alpha is 1.96. If I want 99% confidence limits, that means alpha is 1%. So Z alpha at alpha 1% is 2.58. So in place of Z alpha, you have to substitute 2.58. So these two are 95% and 99% confidence limits for P, population proportion P. So we'll see one problem based on this. So a soft drink maker claims that a majority of adults prefer its leading beverage over that of its main competitors. So he is claiming that majority of people prefer his beverage, soft drink, over his competitors. So to test this claim, what he is claiming, 500 randomly selected people were given the two beverages in random order to taste. So 500 randomly selected people were given the two soft drinks in random order to taste. Among them, 270 preferred the soft drink maker's brand, 211 preferred the competitor's brand, and 19 could not make up their minds. Now determine whether there is sufficient evidence at 5% level of significance to support the soft drink maker's claim against the default that the population is evenly split in its preference. So what he has given, he has taken a sample of 500 and is claiming that 270 of them have preferred his cool drink. So here I am taking P denote the proportion that all adults prefer the company's beverage over that of its competitor's beverage. So P is equals to X by N, number of persons who are preferring the company's beverage divided by the sample size. So 270, that is N. So 270 by 500, this is 0.54. Now null hypothesis H naught. H naught is P equal to 0.50. Why we have taken 0.50? Because in the problem he has given that determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the soft drink maker's claim against the default that the population is evenly split in difference. What is the soft drink maker claiming? He is claiming that his cool drinks are preferred more by his competitors' cool drinks. So here he is what we have to do. They are not claiming; they are equally claiming both the drinks. We have to write in H naught. So H naught I am writing equally means 5%, 5%, 50, 50%. So P is equal to 0.50. H1 will be the soft drink maker's claim is more, that is greater than 0.50. So under H naught, so here H1 is greater than inequality you have. So it is a one-tailed test. So the table value you have to use is for one-tailed test. Now under H naught, the test statistic is Z is equals to small p minus p naught by root of p naught q naught by n. Small p is 0.54, p naught is 0.50 by square root of 0.50 into 0.50 by 500. So when you calculate this, you will get 1.789. So calculated value of Z is 1.789. So since it is one-tailed test and alpha is 5% level of significance, so for one tail, the table value Z alpha is 1.645. Now conclusion, since Z calculated, which is 1.789, is greater than the Z table value, that is 1.645, we reject H naught at 5% level of significance and we conclude that majority of adults prefer the company's beverage to that of their competitors' beverage. That means the soft drink maker's claim is true. His cool drinks are preferred more than his competitors' cool drinks. Next you have last one, test of significance for difference of proportion. So in difference of proportions, you will have two populations. So suppose we want to compare two different populations with respect to the prevalence of certain attributes, say A, among their members. So let x1, x2 be the number of persons possessing the given attribute A in random samples of sizes n1 and n2 from two populations respectively. That means you have two different populations From each populations, you have taken a sample of sizes N1 and N2. And in the first sample, X1 number of persons possess the attribute A, and in second sample, X2 persons possess the attribute A. The sample proportions will be P1 equal to X1 by N1 and P2 is equals to X2 by N2. If capital P1 and capital P2 are population proportions, then already we have proved this. Expected of small p1 is capital P1, expected of small p2 equal to capital P2. And variance of small p1 will be P1 Q1 by N1 and variance of small p2 will be capital P2 Q2 by N2. Null hypothesis H0, there is no significant difference between the two proportions or the population proportions are the same. That is capital P1 equal to capital P2. Alternative will be H1, there is significant difference between the two proportions or the proportions are different. That is P1 not equal to P2 or P1 greater than P2 or P1 less than P2, depends on the problem given to you. Next, we have to define the test statistic. Since for large samples, P1 and P2 are asymptotically and independently normally distributed, their difference P1 minus P2 is also normally distributed. So then the standard variable corresponding to the difference P1 minus P2, standard normal variable. Standard variable means standard normal variable Z is given by P1 minus P2 minus expected of P1 minus P2 by root of variance of P1 minus P2, which follows standard normal distribution with mean 0 and variance 1. Now under H0 we have expected of P1 minus P2 equal to E of P1 minus E of P2. So this is equals to P1 minus capital P1 minus capital P2. Since in H1 P1 equal to P2, this difference will be equal to 0. Also variance of P1 minus P2 equal to variance of P1 plus variance of P2. We have done this proof. Variance of difference of two random variables is equals to sum of their individual variances. So this is equal to P1 Q1 by N1 plus P2 Q2 by N2. So the test statistic for difference of proportion is Z is equals to, we'll substitute here P1 minus P2 by root of PQ into 1 by N1 plus 1 by N2 or P1 Q1 by N1 plus P2 Q2 by N2. So these are some of the remarks. See here also after calculating the Z test statistic Z, you have to compare this Z value with the critical value or table value Z alpha. If this calculated value is less than the critical value Z alpha, accept H0. Otherwise, you reject it. So you have certain remarks in this test statistic also. See here in the formula, I have given P1 minus P2 by root of capital P, capital Q into 1 by N1 plus 1 by N2, where capital Q is 1 minus P. Now how to find this P? So here capital P is an unbiased estimate of the population proportion P based on both the samples. So this is called as pooled estimate. So small p is equal to capital P cap is equals to N1 P1 plus N2 small p2 by N1 plus N2, which is nothing but X1 plus X2 by N1 N2, N1 plus N2. So this is called pooled estimate of the population proportion based on the sample proportions. Suppose we want to test the significance difference between small p1 and small p. This small p is nothing but p cap, that is the pooled estimate of the population proportion. Then the test statistic is Z equal to P1 minus P by root of N2 by N1 plus N2 into PQ by N1. Now if this P1 is not equal to P2, then the test statistic is Z equal to P1 minus P2 minus capital P1 minus capital P2 by root of P1 Q1 by N1 plus P2 Q2 by N2. So here also you'll have three different test statistics. Depending on the values given in the problem, you have to select the formula. We'll see one problem based on difference of proportions. Suppose the Acme Drug Company develops a new drug designed to prevent colds. The company states that the drug is equally effective for men and women. Now to test this claim, they selected a random sample, simple random sample of 100 women and 200 men from a population of 1 lakh volunteers. At the end of the study, 38% of the women caught a cold and 51% of the men caught a cold. Based on these findings, can we reject the company's claim that the drug is equally effective for men and women? So we have to test at 5% level of significance. So we have to test whether the drug is equally effective for both men and women. What are the values given to you? N1 is given as 100, N2 is given as 200. Proportion, 38% of women caught cold. That means proportion of women who caught cold is 0.38 P1. P2 is 0.51. So here given values N100, N200. Null hypothesis H0, the drug is equally effective for men and women. That is P1 equal to P2. Alternative, the drug is not equally effective for men and women. That is P1 not equal to P2. So under H0, the test statistic is small p1 z equal to small p1 minus small p2 by root of pq into 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2 follows standard normal distribution with mean 0 and variance 1. So here p1, small p1 is 38%, that is 0.38. Small p2, 51%, 0.51. So we'll find the estimated value of capital P, pooled estimate value, n1 p1 by n2 minus n1 p1 plus n2 p2, this should be plus, by n1 plus n2. So 100 into 0.38 plus 200 into 0.51 by 100 plus 200. When you simplify this, you will get 0.467. Then capital Q is 1 minus P, which is equal to 0.533. Substitute this capital P, capital Q, P1, P2 in Z formula. So when you substitute in Z, after calculating, you will get Z equal to minus 2.13. So since it is a normal distribution, which is a symmetrical distribution, I can write it as mod Z is equals to 2.13. Now critical value of Z at 5% level of significance is 1.96. Now conclusions in Z calculated, which is 2.13, is greater than Z table value, which is 1.96. We reject H0 at 5% level of significance. And we conclude that the drug is not equally effective for men and women. Thank you.